The Ravens season is over. Now you might be thinking I'm over exaggerating this as the Ravens fall to 1-3 after their embarrassing loss to Kansas City, but the injuries are starting to pile up and it is becoming unrecoverable. So it started with nominating Matabike going down with a neck injury. He did sit sideline for 2 weeks and then got put on the IR, where you're like, he might come back in 4 weeks. No, he's out for the season. Kyle Van Noy is still hurt. He's been missing for the last few weeks, along with Broderick Jones, who are all huge key pieces on that D line, who has been honestly terrible for the last couple weeks with those guys injured. Because guess what? We just let everybody run up the middle against us. I mean, Detroit rushed for like almost 300 yards. I think it was a big number. It was in the two somethings, and they just destroyed the Ravens D line. And I think a big part of it was those three guys just missing. I mean, it's hard to win when you're missing three starters on the D line. And then coming into the Kansas City game, our defense was already reeling, and then we lost Marlon Humphrey, Roquan Smith, and Nate Wiggins. I don't know if Nate Wiggins is going to be out for a period of time. He's the only one that there hasn't been information out for. But Marlon Humphrey and Roquan will be out for a few weeks, probably 3 weeks roughly. So those are huge losses as well. So our defense is now down 5 starters, with Nate Wiggins possibly being a 6. It's about to be Kyle Hamilton versus the world out there. And it's not looking good. It's not getting any better either, because on the offensive side of the ball, it just came out that Lamar will possibly miss 2 to 3 weeks. He's still kind of up in the air if he might play this week, so he might not miss any, but it's very doubtful he'll play this week. Probably doubtful he'll play the next week or the week after. So the Ravens right now are sitting in a spot where they're 1-3. The division's kind of weak. Pittsburgh is the best team, but they're really not that great, to be honest. And they're sitting there staring the barrel down of a 1-6 start, which is unrecoverable. I think if they lose all 3 games, if Lamar can't go for 3 weeks and they lose against the Texans, the Rams, and the Bears, that honestly they should call the season and not let Lamar play at all and not risk him hurting that hamstring more. That might be stupid, and they're not going to do that. They're going to send Lamar out there because honestly, if you finish 9-8, you might make the playoffs in the AFC or even win that division, because who knows what Pittsburgh's going to do. And we don't play Pittsburgh until after obviously Lamar comes back. Well, we also have a couple possibly free wins, because I don't think Joe Burrow will be back when the Bengals, the Jets look terrible, the Dolphins, Lamar will be back for those games. We could honestly win out when Lamar comes back. So the season isn't dead. But with all these injuries adding up, it's like, man, can you keep winning? Is this just going to keep becoming the case? Is more players going to go down? I mean, this feels like a few years ago when it was Chuck Clark versus the world out there on defense. Instead, now it's Kyle Hamilton, who's obviously a lot better player. But, like, yeah, it's starting to add up. This is just bad overall. I mean, we missed Isaiah Likely for the start of the year. Outside of him, most of the offense has been healthy. Ronnie Stanley's been dealing with an ankle issue, I believe, or a hamstring, maybe, something in that range. And he is kind of iffy as well if he could play. We've obviously been missing Patrick Ricard, which I think has been a huge issue. Derrick Henry looks not as good without Patrick Ricard out there. I mean, when you lose a 300-pound blocker just trucking dudes in front of, friggin' King Henry, it does make the game harder for King Henry to run the ball. Lamar has looked slow all season. I wonder if this hamstring's been kind of affecting him for, the last couple weeks. Because I mean, 7 sacks against Detroit just looked like he couldn't move out of the way. Outside of that, the receivers have been healthy. Bateman, Flowers, they're both good to go. Andrews has been healthy. The running backs are pretty healthy as well. It's just the injuries on defense is the scary thing. Our defense is already trashed, and now you take out guys like Roquan and Marlon Humphrey and maybe Nate Wiggins, whom I know some people were memeing on because they haven't had the best start to the year, but they are still high end name talent, and they just they're hurt now. I do think they got kind of lucky. The Rams will be a loss. They're not winning against the Rams if Lamar can't play by then. But they could probably win the Bears and the Texans game without Lamar. I mean, Cooper Rush is a very solid backup. They still have a pretty good offense. I think Derrick Henry could really run against the Houston Texans and the Bears, to be honest. Plus, both teams have not looked, necessarily stellar offensively. Bears maybe a little bit better, but Houston has struggled mightily all season offensively. They're sitting at 1-3 themselves. They've been one of the most disappointing teams in the NFL, behind probably Baltimore, to be honest. And I think they could still win those games. But it's going to be an uphill climb if they come out 1-6. Lamar comes back. He almost has to win out because Pittsburgh probably going to get around 10 wins, right? If you're going to win the division, Pittsburgh's going to get around 10. So now you're talking about wild card. Well, you got 3 teams in the West that look competitive, plus 2 teams in the South and the Bills. Yeah, so like wild card's not out of the question. You just have to outlive probably like Jags or even the Broncos. But I don't think it's possible to recover. I think the injuries are just going to keep piling up, and this Ravens season is already over 4 weeks into the year. But let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. This is like the 3rd Raven video I've made. I am a Ravens fan, so kind of makes a little bit of sense that I want to just spiel out my guts about my team. But I'll see you guys in the